Okay, good morning, everybody. It is July 10th. The year is 2020. This is the AMA, the Ask Me Anything, that is taking place in the Linchpin Athletics closed Facebook group. We usually do these on Thursdays, but I was traveling on Thursday, so here it is on Friday. So thanks to everybody for being accommodating. And these continue to be one of my favorite things, just answering everybody's questions. So I scratched them down, the ones that were upvoted the most, and we'll just start to make our way through it. So the first one, as much as I wish it was not the case, I wish it didn't get upvoted at all, but it did. Mitch Ward, 31 votes. So apparently people are curious about this. Here's the question in his words. How are you so chill? You have the demeanor of a yoga instructor or a Jedi master. Seriously though, is this a learned trait through meditation or training, or something you have always, or have you always been relatively even-keeled? Oh, thank you, Mitch. First of all, thank you. Second of all, I wish it wasn't upvoted because I genuinely do not like chatting about myself. I like helping other folks, and I like using my experience and lessons learned to help other folks, but just randomly chatting about myself is not really something that I enjoy too much. But for the sake of the question, I'll go ahead and answer it. How are you so chill? Well, I will say, I think it depends on who you ask. Some people might be like, what? Some of my close friends might be like, that guy's not chill. But I will say it is through concentrated effort. Maybe that's a good way to say it. I do put a lot of stock in personal development of the self-improvement, if you will. It's my humble opinion that most people would greatly benefit from that. I've had very little luck in my life trying to change other people. I think everybody, I've never had good luck changing other people. The best thing that I can do is work on myself, and then if what I'm doing, I don't know, appeals to other people or they find interesting, and then a conversation develops. Well, if that conversation develops, that means they cracked the door open. I didn't crack the door open. I didn't try to force the door open. And then good things happen. So I've always been a big fan of trying to focus on making myself a better human being. And obviously, for a lot of my life through CrossFit and whatnot, I've been communicating messages, be it live in person, doing level 1 seminars, when we did the update show, so pre-recorded stuff like that. It could be live stuff at the games, live stuff on network television through the games. All of these videos and conversations are communicating messages and whatnot. And I do believe there are more effective and less effective ways to communicate messages. And that might be a highly individual thing as well, but I would rather calmly communicate to somebody what I'm trying to get across and then allow them to sift through what I'm saying and make their own decision than get all crazy, hyper aggressive and try to, force something on somebody. I don't respond well to that, and so I think I'm just doing that. And also, without a doubt, it does come down to, my former life, in the Navy as a SEAL. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, that all is wrapped up into ideally being cool, calm, and collected, even if the world around you is going crazy. That's something that we worked on a lot. I mean, the goal was to be the one that could keep your head when everybody else was losing their minds. And so if things are just out of control and it's hectic and it's chaos and it's anarchy, getting caught up in the chaos and the hecticness and the anarchy is probably not going to allow you to effectively assess what's going on, go through the options, and select the one that makes the most sense, because you're probably going to be caught up in it, stressed out, and do something rash. And so that, beyond a shadow of a doubt, rolls up into all of it. And most of the things in life, there's that old saying, don't sweat the small stuff, and then ... Most things are small stuff. Truth be told, most of us get really worked up about relatively minor things. Don't get me wrong, I would get worked up and not seem so chill at all if I came home, my house was burned down to the ground, or, something tragic happened to somebody that I love. That'd be terrible. But most of the stuff, the most of life's daily grind, they're just annoying problems, really. Life is in my opinion, this is not supposed to sound cynical, this is not supposed to sound negative, believe it or not, there's a silver lining in here. I do believe that the world is a beautiful place full of incredible opportunity, and I think most people are wonderful. I actually really do believe that. That being said, I think every single day when you get up, life is going to present you with problems, be them small, medium, or large, every single day of your life. And your ability to navigate this wonderful world, to be effective with other human beings, is largely going to come down to your ability to rationally, effectively, efficiently, and hopefully calmly solve those problems. And I think that some people, if they think, well, I'm going to be happy one day when I don't have any more problems, I think those people will never be happy, because I think life is always going to present you with problems. And so your attitude, discipline, outward look, whatever you want to call it, in embracing those problems and just working through them, I think is a significant deal regarding whether you're enjoying your time here on planet Earth or not. So I try to do that in a relatively cool, calm, and collected manner, because there's just no point in getting worked up about a lot of stuff. And even stuff that I used to get worked up about. I'm very passionate about CrossFit and what we do. I mean, it's my life's work, quite frankly. And so I used to get really worked up and try to change people's minds. Like, yeah, somebody thinks CrossFit's stupid, or I don't want to do it. Whatever it was, I would take it personal and get worked up and go back and forth. And again, those things rarely are effective communications when two people are arguing. And so these days, I know CrossFit works. I'm sorry, I've been just doing it too long, 15 years and et cetera, et cetera. Like, I know that it works. And so these days, maybe I'm just a bit more secure and confident, and maybe that comes off as being calm. If somebody wants to be like, hey, I think CrossFit's stupid. I'm like, okay, great, no worries, don't do it. Just no skin off my back. I'll be over here doing it, enjoying a high quality of life. If one day you want to have a conversation about it, I'm here. But if you don't, no drama, man. All good with me. So some things that used to get me worked up, they don't get me worked up anymore. And I think if I continue to let some of the things in my youth that used to get me riled up still get me riled up, I'd probably have high blood pressure and be dead. And so now I try to let most of those quote-unquote life's problems just roll off my back. And, try to keep a smile on my face. So that's it. I don't know if that answered the question, but that's what popped into my head. Okay, let's see. So that was Mitch's question. Next one was from Pedro, who, by the way, always seems to ask questions that people really enjoy. So here's the question from Pedro. What would programming look like for a hypothetical Linchpin games competition? Days, number of workouts, etc. Would you make any adjustments or changes to the private track programming as you prepare for the competition? And then Erica Sue Jackson said yes to this. She liked that very much. So did 23 other people. Well, I think the simplest way to do if we did like a Linchpin games competition, right off the bat, we could use the Dirty Dozen, the Linchpin 12 tests, which you can find on our website. Those 12 tests they're from short time domains to long time domains. They're from low rep to high rep. They are from body weight and lightweight to heavyweight. gymnastics, engine work, barbell work, below parallel, overhead, high skill, lower skill, etc., etc. So I think the 12 tests would be a really good place to start. And we could do that. We could do such a competition in a number of ways. Potentially we could post one of the 12 tests each week for 12 weeks. And then, it's not disruptive to any programming or whatnot, and 12 weeks later you assess all the data and you see who shook out where. Boom, done. And that wouldn't require anything. It's just one workout a day. Now, if all of a sudden we're going to try to do this in 2 or 3 days, well, that's a different deal. If we did it over the course of a 3-day weekend and you had to do 4 workouts a day, well, then getting back to Pedro's question, would you make any adjustments or changes to the private track programming to prepare for the competition? Yes, that's an entirely different beast. From just casually, counting, so to speak, 1 workout a week for 12 weeks to 4 workouts a day, 3 days in a row, all of which are pretty darn rugged workouts. That requires, if you wanted to excel and do well, you gradually increasing your exposure to volume over the course of multiple weeks or months, so that when you walked into that arena and did 4 workouts a day for 3 weeks, that you still may feel like a truck hit you, but ideally you'd feel more like a Toyota Tacoma hit you compared to like a Mack truck. That would be the goal. So it would just depend on whether or not we spread it out or we did crunch it all in, but I would think the 12 tests, I would go to that immediately. And then we could say, okay, well, if we're going to do it in just a weekend, well, then I probably wouldn't do 12 workouts over the course of a weekend, so we would pick, 6 to 8, let's just say, and then I would have to select out of the dirty dozen which 6 to 8 do I feel would make the cut, do that over the course of 2 days, etc., etc. So there's some ways we could potentially do it, which now this has put an idea in my head, and maybe we should do 1 a week for a while, and then to see how they shake out. Some of them, they're all very challenging, but some of them, just completing them in the prescribed manner would be an accomplishment. There's some rugged stuff in those 12 tests, so I'm sure we'd have to have a scaled division as well. So, all right, I'll keep that in the back of my head. All right, next question. People are pinging me with the personal questions today, getting me out of my comfort zone. Nicholas, here we are. Let's see. Nicholas says, frankly, Coach, we all share our life and struggles, and you are always here for us, and we really appreciate it. But seriously, how are you doing? Hope life is good and things have settled down a bit from the last storm. 23 people liked that, so I appreciate that. It'll be a very short response. Nicholas, I appreciate it. The entire Linchpin community, I appreciate it. Doing well. And again, getting back to question 1 about trying to be chill or relaxed or whatever it happens to be. Life is not supposed to be perfect, as far as I'm concerned. Life will always be a beautiful symphony of both joy and chaos. And when I realize that it's never going to be all joy and it's never going to be all chaos, that it is a symphony of joy and chaos, then I have to say, life is going exactly as it should go. Some days are more joy, less chaos, and some days are the opposite, more chaos and less joy, but it all shakes out. So I appreciate everybody, and yeah, we're doing well. You guys are amazing, even in the fact that you just asked that. Cameron, okay, here we go. Cameron's question got 20 upvotes. Ooh, here we go. All right, a little sip of my coffee. Cameron says, in one of your Linchpin conversations, you said you don't like working out. Is this true? You seem to have a lot of passion for programming. Do you still dislike working out? Can you elaborate a bit more on why or why not? Let's get right to it. Correct. I do not like working out. Period. End of story. Don't like it. Don't enjoy it. Don't enjoy the process. But, and you're right, but it's funny. I am profoundly passionate about health and fitness, so I don't like working out because, in general, the results come through some intensity, some relative intensity, which we all know is linked to discomfort. And I, in general, like being comfortable when compared to being uncomfortable. So, since the path to fitness is paved with discomfort, it's not a path that I particularly enjoy. However, I do it every single day that it comes up. I rarely, over the course of a calendar year, I bet I can count the workouts that I miss on one hand. So I completely separate the fact as to whether or not I like it to whether or not I do it. I do all kinds of stuff every day that I don't like through discipline because I realize that the benefits outweigh the temporary discomfort. So what I want out of life is a long, healthy, high quality of life to do whatever physical activities I want to do for as long as I want to do them. In order to do that, I need to be fit and healthy. The best path to being fit and healthy is through constantly varied functional movements at high intensity, CrossFit, exactly what we do at Linchpin Athletics. That requires discomfort in a daily session. And so I I put myself through those daily uncomfortable sessions because in my mind, the benefit that I reap in the end is worth the temporary discomfort. And so that's why I do it. So I don't enjoy the process, but I 100% enjoy the results of working out. And that's why I do it. And that's why I'm passionate about it. And the same thing could be said with eating healthy. I would greatly prefer, to have a bowl of Frosted Flakes or something like that compared to some sauteed kale. But I also realize that if I always had a bowl of Frosted Flakes instead of eating my veggies, I wouldn't have that long-term, wonderful, high-quality, healthy, fit life that I want. And so, through discipline, I choose a path of potentially less initial pleasure on my taste buds for what the long-term benefit and result is. So again, there's a lot of things in life that I make what I think are, the tougher choice, the more uncomfortable choice, the less enjoyable choice to a degree, because the juice is worth the squeeze. Because what I get out of it overrides that temporary displeasure. So that's it. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of, just feeling like my body's going into a total shutdown during Fran or whatever it happens to be. But what that does for me is tremendous. And so I will continue to do it in an intelligently scaled or modified fashion for my entire time on this planet. So yes, that's 100% true. And I do love programming, I love building communities, and I love just everyone allowing me to be a part of their fitness journey is a source of pride that I have a tough time putting into words. So once again, thanks to all of you for allowing me to be a part of that. Oh, I see a quick question from Eric Anderson. How is the long walk to freedom coming? I read in college and had to tackle like 100 pages a night. Holy cow, which was aggressive. Yeah, I'd say it's aggressive. I'm trying to do 10 pages a day. I'm falling off and on. I actually have it right here. So I am on page 470. There are 625 pages, so making some good progress. It's a heck of a read, that's for sure. I mean, that to a degree could be looped back into Mitch Ward's initial question about my demeanors. I try to fill my head with nonfiction, and I do truly believe that you are a manifestation, of the 5 people that you hang around with, the media that you consume, the books that you read, etc., all shape and frame who you are and your outlook and how you handle things. I mean, it's really tough for me to read a story like The Long Walk to Freedom, about Nelson Mandela, what he went through and not have it immediately put into perspective my life, and have it not immediately make me realize that my quote-unquote problems, I should go ahead and just calm down a bit. Because yes, they are problems, and yes, they're relative to me, but other people in the world would kill to have my problems. So I should probably take a wrap off and try to calmly handle them and be very grateful. So I'm a huge fan of nonfiction, and that all kinds of wraps back into Mitch's initial question there. Okay, so we just took care of Cameron's one. Brian had a question that got 18 upvotes, and he's a firefighter, and I believe it was about shift work and some things. Let's see. Brian, where are you, brother? Where are you? Where are you? Okay, here we go. Brian Zeller. I find myself often modifying the schedule of workouts throughout the week. I am a firefighter and work part-time at a college, so depending on what gym I can get to that day, either my garage, the box, or the station gym, I have to modify the schedule to suit the equipment I have available that day. I often find myself saying, I can tell why these last 2 days would have been separated by a rest day. Do you have any tips for planning my week, or can you provide any insight on why you program certain workouts on certain days that will help me better plan my week and stay on track without overdoing it regarding intensity, muscle groups, etc.? That had 18 upvotes. So, Brian, yes, having to shift things around based upon life, schedules, your occupation, the equipment that you have available, that can be troublesome, but it can also be overcome. So one good thing about the private track, and beyond the whiteboard, you can get on there and look ahead for the entire week as to what's coming up for workouts. And then if you have an idea of what your life will look like this week and potential bumps in the road, you can use that knowledge to shift something around a little bit. I'll have this gear in my garage, I'll have this gear at the gym, I'll have this gear at the fire station, and make it happen. Now, if you have to shift, I guess the first question is, are the days laid out in a particular order? Absolutely, yes. 100% yes. The programming is laid out in a very intentional way regarding everything from loading to reps to movements to below parallel to overhead to whatever it happens to be, to ideally allow most people to be properly stressed by the programming and then have the adequate recovery to develop, and then be properly stressed again, adequately recover, and so on, and on. We dance for years and years. So right off the bat, if you're shifting days around, there's a really good chance, obviously, that you've disrupted that order, and now you might, hit something on one day that it was my intention would get a bit of a break the next day, but you shifted it around, and now you're slamming it again the next day. This is not how the week's laid up, and I'm just going to pull stuff out of the air. So let's say that on Friday was Fran. Everybody knows Fran, right? Thrusters and pull-ups. So on Monday was Fran, and on Friday, let's just say, was Karen. 150 wall balls for time. All right, well, there's 4 or 5 days between those two workouts. And let's say in those, on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, between our hypothetical Fran and Karen, that we weren't going to go below parallel. And we were going to, modify some other things, work some other areas, so that when Karen came back around on Friday, you were ready. You were ready to go back below parallel again and hit it. Well, let's say that Brian had to rearrange his week and do Fran on Monday and Karen on Tuesday, or probably even worse would be Wednesday, 48 hours after doing Fran. So the short answer to the question, hopefully that illuminates it, is yes, the days are certainly laid out in a way that is intelligently designed and makes sense, and modification of that may result in, let's just say, a less than ideal situation or scenario for the athlete based upon muscle groups, loadings, rep ranges being too similar, too close together, without adequate rest for the athlete. So, in the best thing that you could do, again, look forward, look over the course of the whole week and see if you could modify your workouts based upon your gear and your location in some sort of a way that didn't seem to tax repetitive areas in too short of an order. And I know that's a bit vague, and I apologize for that, but it also depends on what the workouts were that week, what the gear is that you have available, what you have coming up for your life work schedule, and what you're going to have to shift around. But yes, it could be, they're definitely laid out in a very particular way, and moving them around, it could dramatically reduce your intensity, leave you too sore because you weren't allowed the time that you needed to recover, and it's not the ideal situation to roll. But that is a tough situation to find yourself in, and something which could help with that is little by little. Education goes a long way. Understanding the why of the workout, the intent of the workout, how to effectively scale and modify it. In that little bit of education, you can get each day, if you just watch the daily video that I include on the private track with whatever the workout happens to be. Each one of those is kind of a little educational session as to what we're doing, why we're doing it, some thoughts that were going through my head, how it's going to hit you, how it would be modified, etc., etc. And as the days go by, and you get all that knowledge in your head, and the weeks go by and the months go by, you're getting a pretty darn nice education about programming. And as that education increases, these decisions that Brian has to make will become a bit more clear. He'll be able to look at the week through a better lens of programming, and he'll know what would or would not make sense, and then you could shift or modify accordingly. So once again, I would highly recommend being sure to watch all those videos each day. I think they will pay off in the long run. And as a firefighter, make sure you stay safe out there. We appreciate it. Okay, here we go. Colton had a question that got 13 upvotes. What was it? Colton Hicks, 13. Here we go. Besides the L1 course, what course do you think is the most beneficial for the average athlete wanting to learn? Gymnastics, Mike Bergner, aerobic capacity, etc., etc. Great question. First of all, knowledge is a wonderful thing. So the more that you can go to, the better. However, they're all good choices, and there's many more good choices. Mike Bergner's fantastic. And truth be told, the barbell snatch, the clean and jerk are movements that everybody can use more attention on regarding improvement of their technique. And to have somebody like Coach B there to get his hands on you and help you be better, that's going to be tough to beat. So, that would be very high on the list. They're all excellent choices, like I said, run by capable people. Something which wasn't mentioned there, maybe it was mentioned in the etc., aerobic capacity, etc., ... I would dive into nutrition. And there's a lot of different courses out there. Some of them are great. Some of them are far from great. They're not good at all. We've come back to this before. Eva Claire Sinkowski. She's a friend, so this may come off as biased, but the wonderful thing is she's excellent at what she does, so that's why I'm saying this. From Optimize Me Nutrition, she just knows her stuff. She's got, and I don't get a penny from her. This is just my personal recommendation. She's got courses that you can take that will make you so much more knowledgeable on nutrition and fueling your body, and that is such a monstrously huge piece of your development that I would say I would put that incredibly high on the list. So I would dive into nutrition, properly fueling yourself, and if you're doing that and then pouring yourself into the Linchpin Athletics programming, life's going to be good. Life's going to be really, really good. So dive into that. Nasos and Jack both had basically the same question. And that same question was, I'm sorry, not Jack, Jake, my apologies. Am I going to keep the no equipment version going even after COVID ends? So we had pre-COVID, we had the workout of the day, the scaled option, the dumbbell workout, which we call our limited equipment, etc., etc. And then once COVID hit and people were trapped in there, we started posting a no equipment workout every day. Zilch, zero. You just need your body and planet Earth, and there's a workout every day. And it's been very, very popular in general, people traveling, whatever it happens to be. And yes, the answer is yes, that the no equipment workout is here to stay. That will just forever from now on be a part of the private track, and you'll be good to go. So enjoy it. It's not going anywhere. It's been about 30 minutes, and now we're at the part where I have to make a decision about the rabbit hole. I almost feel, Chris, do I use Beyond the Whiteboard to track my workouts? Yes, sir, I do. And yes, I do. It's always effective and humbling and useful. Here's the rabbit hole, and I think I'm going to pause this and attack it as just a standalone video. Every Tuesday I do a live video, and I think I might do this for next Tuesday's live video on Linchpin. The question is from Ann Sim. And her question is, and it only got 7 upvotes, but I like it a lot. I think it's valuable. Do you think prescribed weights in a workout should be a percentage of the person's body weight as opposed to just setting a weight for all males and all females? Being a small 100-pound female, getting more than my body weight overhead, I consider a good weight/achievement. But for a 150-pound female friend, lifting 120 pounds isn't such of a big deal. Is this just a lack of strength on my part? Awesome question. Phenomenal question. Valuable question. And it's a question that yesterday, I enjoyed it so much. My wife thinks I'm crazy. I get these things in my head and I can't get them out of my head. They're like a splinter in my brain or something. So when I read that question, I just had all these thoughts going around that I couldn't relax until I got them out. And so I grabbed a pad of paper, which you'll see here, and I wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages of an answer to that question with various lines going everywhere. It looks like the work of a madman, but it's a great question, and I think it would be very beneficial to people. But it's almost like a standalone thing in and of itself. So I think we're going to table that, and we will save it for the video on Tuesday as just a standalone deal, and I'll polish some more of my madman thoughts right there. So that's it. Great job and grace, everybody, today. I'm seeing already some wonderful numbers coming up. If you PR'd, congratulations. If you didn't PR, it doesn't matter. The point is just to work out, have some fun, move the barbell around in a safe manner, stretch, go home, and enjoy yourself. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks to Linchpin community for being amazing, and we will continue to do these AMAs.